The 2024 Mustang Mach-E, like this GT model here, gets a few performance updates in terms of efficiency, range, and hardware on board. How does all of that translate to a real-world range test at 70 miles an hour? We're going to take this GT with the performance upgrade out and find out. Let's go. All right, we are getting underway with our 70 mile an hour range test as we pull out of this service plaza and get up to highway speed. Now, interestingly, a few things to note about this Mustang Mach-E GT is that it does carry on the window sticker an EPA rating of 280 miles. Now, I'm assuming that's without the performance pack enhancement upgrade installed, which this car has. And so there's actually a pretty significant difference between the stated indicated range and that 280 mile number. For example, right now, pulling out onto the highway, the car says I should be able to do 228 miles on this full charge, which is a lot less than 280. I've set a destination that returns me to my favorite charging station in 224 miles. So I should have 3 miles of buffer, assuming all of this is correct now. Now, of course, that's not going to be the case because it'll average out a little bit differently. About the test itself, when I've done this test before, I've set a goal for an average speed of 70 miles an hour, which could indicate that I would go over 70 miles an hour in certain situations. Just to try to keep that average the same. It's been pointed out, and truthfully pointed out, that it's much more difficult to push air at 72 miles an hour than it is at 68 miles an hour. Maybe not much more difficult, but the quicker you go through the air, the more horsepower and energy and stuff that it takes to do that. So it might actually be hurting more trying to keep that average speed than just setting the target and going with it. So what I'm going to do from now on these tests is set the target speed at the speed limit and let the car sort of do the rest. Now, this means my average speed will probably be a little bit lower. I will tell you at the end of the drive what that average speed ends up being, along with some other information. So some of that other information, it is currently 46 degrees outside. It's a bit chilly, there's a bit of a wind, it's late fall, so I don't expect the car to be as efficient as it would be on a 70-degree day. As you can see, no hands on the steering wheel. I am using Ford's updated Blue Cruise, which should do lane changes and stuff too, though earlier when I was playing with it, I had to indicate it myself, so I'm not sure how automatic they are. But if I do tap the indicator, it will perform the lane change sort of by itself. So I'll be commenting quite a bit on that functionality as we continue to drive down the highway, or as I continue to be driven down the highway. You do have to pay attention with these systems, even though it is hands-off. We just got passed by some Federal Protective Service police from Homeland. Okay. Between that and Border Patrol, you know, but so yeah, the key here, a couple keys here is we are going to see how efficient the car is. We are going to attempt to see how good Blue Cruise is, and we're going to talk about the car and talk about how quiet it is and some of the other sort of impressions and experiences that I've got from this. With a full charge on a level 2 this morning, the car said it would do 240 miles. That would be the equivalent of the same range of the BMW i5 M60 that I drove recently. If you click the pop-up description above, I will link to that so you can watch that. Yes, it's on a different channel, but you can check that out. And Lord willing, we don't run out of electricity. There's another Border Patrol alongside the road, so what's going on? Who knows? Who knows? Let's talk about this Mustang Mach-E GT. 2024 brought some new updates to the Mach-E lineup. including the addition of the Rally model, which this is not that, kind of a bummer. But the GT is packaged a little differently. So all GT models in 2024 and on come with all of the hardware from the GT Performance Pack. So the Brembo brakes, the better Brembo brakes, the Magneto Rheological dampers, which Ford calls MagnaRide, and just all of that sort of, that hardware's on board. The stiffer springs, the dampers, the tires. Another cop. They are looking for something. And then, if you want the extra horsepower and torque, if you want the 460 horsepower and 600 foot-pounds of torque, you can just basically do it through a software update. Or you can order directly from the dealer and have it on the Monroney. It happens to be on the Monroney on this car, though this is a pre-production and not for sale unit. I still have the details that you'll need to know about it. I would encourage you, if you think you are for sure going to want that performance update, that upgrade, to order it with the car. Get it on the Monroney, because then there's no reason for a dealer in the future to diminish the value of your trade because it's not on the Monroney. I would apply the same thing with buying a Tesla. Like, if you think you're going to want full self-driving, you should check the box when you order the car. Just because if it's not on the Monroney, there's nothing technically stopping somebody from removing that software or saying, you don't actually have it, I don't believe you, I'm not going to give you the extra money for it. Now, does the software performance update have value? I don't know. It should. It should, because it is extra performance. But, With Ford, with this update, it sticks with the vehicle, so you should also then be able to trade it in. But, again, get it in the Monroney and be happy. Hardware-wise, this has a new rear motor that shares with the F-150 Lightning. So it's a heavy-duty, heavy-dutier, beefier setup. Should improve longevity. Ford also has assured me when I first drove the car earlier this year that they have addressed some of the concerns about power delivery, especially in a quarter-mile run. When I first drove a Mustang Mach-E GT at the drag strip, very early on, I noticed the first eighth of a mile, great, fantastic, nice and quick. That second eighth, it fell off quite a bit. Through software updates and stuff like that, Ford is said to have resolved some of that issue. And it should also accelerate quicker, lower down in the battery pack than it did before. If the car is going to have the Mustang name on it, it should probably be able to go to a drag strip and consistently churn in times. So, Ford has worked on that. I am not going to a drag strip with this car. It's cold. I don't know where I would go right now because, again, it's cold in fall and not something consistent. So, we're going to have to take them somewhat for their word. Tracking us today, we've got the trip computer up on the main portrait mode display here, which shows you, it'll give you a breakdown of how much energy you're using, sort of like where is it going. So 5% right now it says is going to climate use. I have the temperature set at 68 degrees. I feel like on these tests, while I will put the car in its most eco-friendly kind of mode, in this case it's Whisper, I don't believe that you should sacrifice climate comfort for miles. I don't think it's something you should have to do. So it's reasonable to expect to put the car into eco mode, or into this case Whisper. I don't think it's reasonable to expect to not run with the heater on when it's 46 degrees outside. So this is designed to be as real world as you can kind of expect. 96% is driving, 0% accessories, 0% exterior temperature. So earlier, some of it was being devoted to the exterior temperature, but it's warming up a little bit. So, there you go. What else? The car supports wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, unlike GM cars. Doesn't matter. I don't know. I like using it. I think users should have a choice. The instrument cluster itself, much smaller than the big display over here, provides the relevant information, especially when you're in Blue Cruise enabled mode. The whole screen turns blue. I do find it a little hard to see the upper corners up around the upper left and upper right hand corner of the display. Sort of my driving position and stuff like that. It's blocked by the steering wheel. It's not super terrible, though it does block whatever, when you have sort of like Blue Cruise and stuff on, it does block the indicator showing what the cruise control is set at, the speed it's set at. So that's a bit obnoxious. Otherwise, doesn't show a ton of info. It's not super customizable. Not even like the way like the Volvo, the X90 is, or the Polestar 3, which you can have a map show up. So it's not even that customizable, but shows you, I guess, what you need to know. The big thing about hands-off systems like Blue Cruise, ProPilot Assist 2.0, and then of course the industry standard Super Cruise is, where do you put your hands when they're not on the steering wheel? You sit them in your lap. Do you kind of like put them over on the armrest? Like what? Where do you put them? Where do they go? How are they supposed to work? All completely fair questions that I don't have a great answer to. I guess it's nice if you're trying to get a beverage or something, but beyond that, yeah. I choose to do these tests on the Ohio Turnpike and then the Indiana Toll Road if we have to go extra farther, because it's typically just a higher rate of average speed. There's sometimes construction, like what we're going through right now, and it's not always 3 lanes. It does drop down to 2 lanes as we head farther west, but there's not a lot of sort of opportunity for traffic to really slow things down. There's not cross streets and things like that. I will say also that it also helps with things like Blue Cruise or Super Cruise, because these roads are definitely digitally mapped. So I should be in a blue zone for nearly this entire trip. Disabled it just going through that part of the work zone because there were workers, and running over workers is bad. I started off at going to 100% state of charge at that EA station I was at, which, man, I really try to avoid EA these days. They just aren't great. It charged really slow to that 80 to 100%, slower than I have in other cars. So not super excited about the charging curve test that I'm going to do after this drive is over. I bundle these kind of together, not as one video or not as one article on the website, but I do bundle them because at the end of the drive, I'm going to be nearly empty on the battery, so that's when it makes sense to perform the charge curve test, because I need electricity. But taking 40 minutes to go from 80 to 100%, not encouraging for when I need to do this later today, when I'm ready to be home. So, we'll see. We shall see. Of course, exterior temperature has a lot to do with it. Plus, I don't really trust those new EA stations all that much. So I will be going to an EV Go station later and performing the charge curve test there at one of those Flying J EV Go. Once the canopies and the stuff and the things. Yeah. passing the Stranahan Theater in Toledo. They have Les Miserables, which, if you're a Star Trek Deep Space Nine fan, is a Michael Eddington's favorite story. Though he defines himself as the hero in that story. And blames Sisko as being Jafar. And then Sisko commits a war crime. There's a lot of war crimes in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But, I mean, technically, so did Eddington. But, in the Mach-E. But, it's still a war crime. Answering a war crime with a war crime is not sort of the way one should do things. But I digress. So you might have noticed I used to be on a different YouTube channel, and now this is something different. Long story, kind of short. EV Pulse just sort of ran out of funding. Oh, that's a deer. Hello. EV Pulse sort of just ran out of funding, which stinks. So you may see the occasional update over on that channel, as I kind of want to keep some content over there, maybe fresh or updated, but nobody's currently getting paid to do that. So I would encourage you to, I guess if you enjoyed my coverage over there, stick around on this channel. I'm not sure where Craig is going to go. I will be more than happy to help you guys find him when he lands somewhere. But in the meantime, yeah, here I am. Apparently I've got 205 miles now until I get to my destination, and I only have 204 miles of range. So it's not going particularly well. There's a few sort of bailout options and things that I have in case I'm super concerned, but kind of don't want to have to use those. Also, I really do hope that at highway speeds this car is more efficient than the 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour I'm indicating. That's not Hummer bad, but it's not good. Especially considering other cars deliver this level of performance or more and do better. Now, some will be, of course, a result of the outside temperature. It is cooler. I know the Lightning got the fuel pump update, but I don't know, or the heat pump, update. Not sure if the Mach-E did. I should consult the Monroney. That I brought with me. Doesn't say. I should have 91 kilowatt hours of usable electricity, though, so there is that. So, what, 200 miles of range? A little bit more? It's not great, Bob. It's not great, Bob. I thought maybe the guesstimeter was just not accurate because maybe... Excuse me. I thought maybe the guesstimeter was not accurate just maybe because of who drove it before, things like that. But it should be working itself out by now, and still a mile short. Let's just do a quick check of the noise. "60 decibels, before the car got a little upset at me. 60 decibels, so that's a little bit, that's one or two more than the Mercedes EQE 350 Plus that I was in recently. Pretty quiet though, ultimately. I chose a quieter set of pavement because I think that's probably the best place to kind of test that. And fresh pavement is always a little bit quieter. But I don't really hear a lot of wind noise in here. There is there is some around the wing mirrors, of course, and a little bit I hear going over the glass. It's above me. I've got the glass panoramic roof. But still reasonably quiet. I mean, if you believe this is a Mustang, it's very quiet for a Mustang. We should probably talk a little bit about, is Mustang, does it Mustang, will it Mustang? And 460 horsepower is definitely Mustang level horsepower. 600 foot-pounds of torque is definitely more than Mustang. It's a crossover. Can a Mustang be a crossover? Yeah, probably. I mean, this is. And, you know, it says Mustang on the back, on the hood. I mean, it doesn't say on the hood, but, you know, it's Mustang. It's a Mustang. So, Ford says it is. So it is. It doesn't have the seating position of a Mustang that I would like. It doesn't. I sit what feels like a little too high up on the, a little too high up, definitely a crossover feeling vehicle. And you know, ultimately that's really kind of what this thing is. It's a family crossover that just happens to be powered by electricity. So take that for what you will. I mean, it's Mustang branded all over. It does some cool Mustang things. I like how it looks. I like the headlights. I like the taillights. I like the black pony badge on this particular model. There are genuinely a lot of cool things kind of happening. And it is quick. It is. But I don't know. I've never really imagined a Mustang as a crossover. But that's all right. We live in a brave new world, and I'm fine calling it a Mustang, and I'm fine even arguing that it's a Mustang because I do think the performance is here. I just would prefer a 2-door coupe over a 5-door crossover, but you as buyers do not. Now, I have an easy pass. but it didn't pick my Easy Pass up when I got on the highway. However, I am going through the Easy Pass lane, so I'll let the Ohio Department of Transportation work that out or something. What I'll do is in a couple of days, I'll check and run the license plate on this car and see if I need to pay any tolls. I shouldn't, because again, I have the Easy Pass mounted where the turnpike says to mount it, so I'm not really sure how anything is my problem in this case, but I'll check. There have actually been a couple of deadly crashes in places like that because this open air tolling is only a new thing for Ohioans, and apparently some people don't know how to drive, so they don't know where to slow down and pay their ticket or something, and don't end up in the ticket lanes and then cause crashes and then people die. Not great. So if you're in the Easy Pass only lane, even if you don't have an Easy Pass, just go through the gates. Just go through at speed. Check your license plate a couple of days later. You'll be able to go on and pay the toll. No fines, nothing like that. The absolute worst thing you can do is slam on your brakes or try to get into the ticket-only lane, because you're gonna get somebody hurt, and probably yourself. The one downside, though, to using this road, a couple downsides, but one of the bigger downsides is semi-traffic, tractor-trailer traffic, is going at the same speed as passenger cars. There's no 5-mile-an-hour slower limit, things like that. So it's really easy to get caught up in tractor-trailer traffic and get cut off and things like that. I totally believe in giving them a wide berth, don't get me wrong. But when they're allowed to move at the same speed, it does create some extra stress for regular cars, especially because you're not as big. Like, for example, that truck there. I don't have a problem with speeding, generally speaking. If you're going a little bit over the speed limit, no big deal. But that is 40 tons going over the speed limit. Give them a wide berth. You should have still, regardless, give them a wide berth. Because they are 40 tons, and you are not. Even if you are in an EV, which is heavy. Oh, we're up to 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour. That's slightly better than a Hummer EV. No, the Hummer's in the mid-ones. I kid. Bear in mind, we are just cruising. That is not particularly great. What I should have done, just to give me some more bailout options, I should have brought along my Electron adapter to charge the supercharger, because this car is unable to do that. And I could have done that if I needed to bail. But doing a charge curve test at a supercharger, especially on a non-Tesla, is a bit challenging, because how do you record the data? Because the easiest way to do it is film the screen, the charging screen. The data is perfectly fine that comes out of it. Maybe a OBD2 sensor and stuff like that would work better, but I'll work on that in the future. I'll work on, that sort of prep for future tests if that's something that needs to be done. But in the meantime, that's how we do it. I will say there's one confusing thing about the instrument cluster, is that when you have a destination set and it's a charging station, like it'll show you a little charge icon. Okay, cool. Like it's a charging station that's 180 miles. So I'm assuming that means it's 180 miles till I get to that charging station, which destination I set. Right below it, it's got a battery. It says 175 miles. Now that battery, it's a little line through it, a little arrow pointing down. I'm assuming that is the range left. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But like, it's a little confusing because it's like two different battery icons sort of right on top of each other. And yes, this is RTFM University, but like, I don't see a lot of EVs put that information so close together where it could be potentially confusing. I know there's not a lot of space in the instrument cluster, so maybe that's like the only place to put it. But I think there's probably a better way to show that. Also, for what it's worth, I have 174 miles of range and 179 miles to go. So that's not promising at all. I also have no desire to run out. I've ran out once this year already. Don't really want to do it again. Don't really have a support staff to help with that. So, like, if I had a chase truck that had electricity on it, that could charge alongside the road, so I could get to the charging station, great. That would be awesome. I don't. So, you know. And getting stopping alongside the road is dangerous. Can be dangerous. So I'd like to avoid that. But I get 2 free tows a year with AAA, so I've used one of them. Probably could have called roadside. But who knows how long it takes for them to respond. One unique thing about this route that I take is once I enter Indiana, the exits for the Indiana Toll Road are even farther apart than they are in Ohio. So if I want to take an earlier exit to avoid maybe completely running out, then I'm going to end up with like 30 miles extra of buffer when I get to where I need to go for the charge curve stuff, and then I don't want that much range, so then I got to burn some of it off, and it just doesn't quite work out super duper well. So I'd like to avoid having to cut that short. But I might not have a choice. 169 miles of range, 174 miles to go. 2.3 miles per kilowatt. This is not great. Not sure if you want to hear a whole video of me just saying, no, it's not great efficiency, but it's really not. Now, I understand that the performance wheels are going to have different tires on them that aren't as eco-friendly, and they're bigger and they're not as aero-friendly, and the car makes more power, but like if you're not sending that power to the motors, it shouldn't make as big of a difference. Cold air is denser, makes it a little bit harder to push through the air, I suppose. And it is cold outside. It's now 47 with the sunshine. So it's not ideal. But again, the EPA stated range is 280 miles. So that's without, again, probably without like the performance upgrade and stuff like that. But it's also not, like, it's a big difference. It's a big discrepancy. So let's talk about discrepancies for a bit. Why does this car have potentially so much more than some other cars? Well, this is, in the terms of EVs, an old car. It came out in, 2020? I think I remember when I first drove it at a very COVID-ish prepared for drive program. Very weird. But it was not, like, it was fine then, but a lot of the charging hardware and stuff like that hasn't changed or advanced in the 4 model years that this car has existed. 3 model years that this car has existed, 4 years on sale. So there's other cars that are coming out now with hardware that's a couple of years newer, with things like more advanced heat pumps and just more efficient motors and better battery management software and things like that. And those are all things that come with sort of development time. This updated Mustang Mach-E is not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. But it did not get a significant amount of updates for 2024. I mean, the biggest addition was adding the Rally, and that is, I mean, it's not a straight appearance package, but it's basically an appearance package. I mean, it is actually a straight appearance package, realistically. So, that particular car is rated, I think, at 263 miles because of some of the aero changes that come with the wing on the back and stuff like that. 253 miles, 263. So, yeah, I expect the drop there. This, it's not that cold. I mean, it's cold. It's not that cold. To be losing this much range at a highway speed when a much larger vehicle like that, like an EQ E350 that I drove recently, did okay. Granted, it was warmer, but there's just a lot potentially in the efficiency and management software and things like that that are lost when the car gets to be a couple years old. I would expect that when there's a full refresh of this car, a true updated model, we'll get better charging performance and we'll get just better overall performance. That doesn't mean it needs to go to 800 volt to do it, but it just there's I think some more efficiencies that could be found in this car that just aren't necessarily here right now. 50 minutes in, I've been pretty good about the speed. There's been 1 or 2 times where I've had to creep a little bit higher just to overtake, to get out of people's ways. Road safety sort of stuff. Otherwise, it's camping along at 70 miles an hour with Blue Cruise with no place to put my hands. 167 miles to my destination, 160 miles of stated range. It's a fairly big discrepancy. On the return sort of leg, I will attempt to better ascertain if I need to slow my butt down in order to make it. But that will lower the overall average speed, which again, like I said, I'll give you the average speed sort of at the end. The goal is to go at 70, basically till it dies. And then that's sort of how far you can go on 70. If I have to go to extreme measures to stretch, then is it really a fair or accurate test? You decide. I may not slow down. I may not do that because it's actually, I'm one of those that believes it's, if I have to go to extreme measures to make it, then it's not a fair or accurate test. So if I do anything, it would cut the drive shorter than it would be to slow down. Seems like the fair way to do it. So why do videos in this format? Part of it's, say, you can bring along with me. You can kind of experience sort of what I do as I do it. I'm not doing it like completely real time. Maybe I should. Instead of cutting it out at all, just real time, the whole thing. I don't think anybody's going to want to watch that, but I do cut out some of the bits because, reasons. Because I'm not going to sit here and talk the whole time. But you can sort of then see, like, hey, what things do I experience? When do I experience them? Under what conditions are, certain things done or not done? And, yeah. So, like, if something fails, like, you're going to sort of see the conditions around which it did. So, like, if Blue Cruise doesn't deliver something the right way or whatever, like, you'll be able to see that. What I may end up doing, see, I'm thinking this stuff through as I'm doing this real time. I may put like an unedited, like the full length video. I may put that up for like YouTube channel membership or Patreon for those members. Then you can see sort of all of the context of the drive really come along with, while the other ones are kind of, sort of chopped up. Then I could put full charge curve videos, stuff like that. I could like do that. So if you really want to see, like, nerd out or see a lot of that data, that'll be an option. Kind of makes sense. Not necessarily like the data itself, but like the acquisition or, kind of go a little bit more behind the scenes, if you will, of the experience. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. We'll see. We're not in a blue zone for this work area. This toll plaza. That's weird. Ka-chow. We'll take over through this work zone because this is like a work zone / exit area / toll plaza / just a lot. Though it looks like they have made some progress since the last time I've gone through here. Missed the toll, 7 days to pay online. I never miss tolls. I mean, I might miss the scan, but I don't miss the toll. I don't think anybody misses it. Yeah, they've done a lot of work actually in that work zone because it used to be one lane and there was a contraflow, and they've quickly gone through and fixed it. So now it's just normal highway, which is great. More to discover in Diana. What are you discovering in Indiana? In Diana? We get inside Diana here? That's weird. Oh, weird. Am I a juvenile? Yes. Is that going to change? Probably not. Indiana, though. The state you have to drive through to get to Illinois. Does it serve any other purpose? Maybe. I mean, whatever a Hoosier is. It's a tire, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, do I pick on Indiana every time I drive into Indiana? Yes. Will that change? Probably not. Probably not. sign says for cars to keep left. Well, I'm in a crossover, so ha. I'm gonna go through the Easy Pass wide lane. No, I'm not.
Press button. Processing. Please remove ticket. Thank you.
So I have my Easy Pass mounted right where it's supposed to be, and I have now had to get 2 tickets. I'm starting to think there's something about this windshield. Move it up, I guess. That's obnoxious. I'll move the Easy Pass up to the little black specky things. Normally you don't put it there, you put it down on the glass, but this glass might suck. It's a new Easy Pass too. I got it just in the past year, so the battery's not dead in it. I had one for a while, but I got rid of that one and got a new one because I was worried about the battery going dead. But I will have to go online now because there's no way I picked it up. That's annoying. So apparently I will have missed the tolls. Woo. Are you shackled by lust? Jesus sets free. Alright, so in 27 miles is my turnaround point. I have 127 miles of range left, which means I would have 100 miles to go in charge. But 10 miles short. Just it's 10 miles short. No making it. There's no making it. So, do I get off at I-69 and go to Fort Wayne Lansing and turn around there? Probably. Because I don't think there's another bailout point between that and the road I want to take. That's really kind of depressing. Yeah, next exit 23 miles, which would be that turnaround point, which I can't take. So let's. I'm watching the road.
Continue 24 miles on I-90.
So here we go. We're not going to make it. So we are going to exit here on I-69. Just canceling the next waypoint. So that we can head back. See, now it says I need 122 miles of range and I only need to go 88 miles. It doesn't, the math just, it's not the greatest bailout point because there's almost some 40 some miles there and back, you know. Now there, it picked up my Easy Pass. Had my window rolled down, the credit card ready. And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to use your Easy Pass. Okay. Not sure what it scanned. Because it shouldn't know that I got on the highway. So didn't update my Easy Pass account with the license plate in this car. So if I do have to fight them, they're going to be like, you weren't in this car. So I have to add this when I get back, and hopefully it's going to be weird and complicated. Using toll passes and a toll road in press cars can sometimes be complicated. Anywho, back to it. Back to it. Didn't have to take a ticket that time. Though I thought maybe I would because it didn't just open the gate. All right, sit rep. After that early bailout, I have 85 miles to my destination and 120 miles of range. Now, interestingly, I was complaining earlier about the way the cluster kind of shows charging and range. Now it shows my available range above the range to the charger. So now it's not more confusing, I guess, but I don't understand the logic. Because, okay, so if you have enough range, then it puts your range on top. And if you don't have enough range, it puts your range on bottom. I guess, but that's just weird. That's what it is. It's weird. So this bright sun makes it look like it's warmer out. It's not. It's still 46 degrees. It's always 46 degrees. Alright, if for some reason you are new to my channel, hello. My name is Chad. Hi. I've been an automotive journalist since 2014, so a decade? Yeah, a decade. Drive a lot of cars. For the last 3 to 4 years, I have been running a website and YouTube channel called EV Pulse. And along with a couple other things, I'm co-owner of a business that owns that, and flat6s.com, and a couple other things. Recently, that particular venture ran out of investment money, so I'm kind of trying to do my own thing for a bit, which is why I'm here. You can Google search me, and you can find all sorts of stuff that I've written about everything from electrification to pickup trucks to all sorts of stuff. So, yeah. Maybe I will include a link to my muck rack profile in the description box below so you can see everywhere I've been. Been online, I've been in print, I've been in newspapers, I've been on TV. I've been on the radio. Go a lot of places, do a lot of things. But now I've got to find a way to burn 37 extra miles of range. For no real reason. This car isn't as efficient as it should be. This transit I'm passing has seen much better days. Looks like it's been hit with a baseball bat on nearly every panel. Time for some more Easy Pass drama. Will it work? Will it won't work? It should. This new spot on the windshield should. I guess is the spot to be. Is the place to put it. Probably says it in the manual. But I'm not going to read the manual on every single press car I get. So when it comes to picking up and acquiring blue zones, it's pretty quick at doing that. Just turn the lane assist on and it does it. Just brings back horrible memories of using Teammate a while ago, which should work really well because, hey, it's got LiDAR and all that stuff, but in the real world, not super duper practical. Took a long time to acquire the road and everything like that just to do the assist stuff. And there's supposed to miss hands on. And so far, this system has worked pretty well. I feel like this area I'm in right now, between toll plazas, for some reason isn't digitally mapped on this side. I think it was digitally mapped on the other side. So it's a little weird. Oh, now I'm in a hands-free zone now. So I don't know. This is the only place where it's been a little confusing on where it's hands-free and where it's not. Not the display is not confusing, just the geography doesn't make a ton of sense why back right there it wasn't, but like right here it is. So I digress. Some fall foliage action. Foliage. Foliage. We will soon be out Diana and not in Diana. Alright, so if I I'm trying to add some distance back. So if I go to the charging station that I'm going to go to, but I add a little bit of a loop to it where there's a nice little roundabout where I can swoop back around. It says that's at 113 miles then, and I only have 107 miles of range. I really can't seemingly win with this car today. And interestingly, Super Cruise is pretty good at picking up that you're in a construction zone. And telling you and warning you and all of that sort of jazz. Blue Cruise hasn't done anything. It's still working, but it's not saying like, hey, there's some barrels, maybe you should pay attention, or whatever. But it also didn't make me take over, so I guess there's that. Sometimes it's pretty quick about instituting a lane change. Other times it's like, yeah, I'm going to think about it for a decade. So this truck was going quicker. This one on the left, and then the one on the right, and then the one on the right. Seems to be going the same speed, but the one on the left slowed down. Like, it's all complicated. But we've got 101 miles to the charging station and only 96 miles of range. So there is that. There is one bailout option, though, doing it this way. Heading back up to the EVgo station. I will pass the EA station on the turnpike that I could potentially stop and use. Gosh, I hate using EA these days, though. So I just can't count on the stuff to work. $123.4 miles. Oh man, 123.5. Dang it. 4% climate use, 93% driving, 2% accessories, 1% exterior temperature. That's where my electricity supposedly is going. 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour. 94 miles to the destination. 88 miles left of range. Ugh. Ugh. Seems to be 6 or 7 miles, just as how short I'm gonna come up. So just passed, you might not be able to see it on the video, but I just passed a tractor trailer sitting in a field with a big Trump 2024 MAGA on it. Fine, whatever. But there's an American flag next to it that had 15 stars on it. That's not enough stars. Like at all. 35 too many. Too few, I mean. Some more information about my route. Why do I go west instead of east? East has 3 lanes farther, things like that. More elevation change, more curves, more elevation change. Heading west, it's pretty straight and flat for the most part, even into Indiana, where east is different. More charging options if you go east, but shit towards Cleveland, it doesn't stay as flat as it does this way. And I'm trying to get the flattest route I believe that I can get. When this is all done, I'll have a video up for this, and it'll all be somehow cataloged on the Destination Charged website, destinationcharged.com. Still trying to figure out how do I want to catalog certain things. Been playing with some WordPress plugins. Wrote my own plugin to show the charging curve analysis stuff. Found something new, advanced custom fields, though it might let me do some other stuff. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. Temperature is now 49 degrees. Woo, that's an improvement, right? We're still roughly 8 miles short. Let's consult what options we have. I am watching the road now. So after doing a little bit of replanning in terms of where I get off the turnpike and get back on, looks like I've got 73 miles of range and 63 miles to the charging station. So I'm going to up there with 10 miles left, which is probably going to be more than the percentage that I would like to show up with. But it's kind of my only option, because I don't want to have to rely on that Electrify America station, which has let me down numerous times. So now I will end up 10 miles in the green. I'd like to be 5 miles in the green. We gotta provide a more in-depth charging curve analysis expectation, things like that, but you know. Oh good, it's starting to rain while the sun's out. We still continue to lose range with the guessometer. There was a 10 mile an hour or a 10 mile difference. Now we're down to 8 miles of buffer. Not doing anything different. Cruise is still set at 70 miles an hour. Weather's a little bit warmer. It's 50 degrees now instead of 46. Still 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour. Still don't know what to do with my hands. The driving coach isn't too particularly fond of my speed, only giving me a 45% rating. Thing is, this is the speed people drive, right? Like I was trying to get everything in the green there. I feel like I'm being punished maybe a little too much for speed with the efficiency that I'm getting. Could I be a little bit better with acceleration? Maybe, I guess. 78%, but whatever, that's still green. Like, it's... Another toll plaza. Ka-chow. So you might be wondering why I don't listen to music or anything like while I'm doing this. It's called demonetization. And while at the time of this recording, this channel is not monetized, it hopefully will be at some point, and I don't want videos like this to ruin that. So, yeah. So what are my overall goals sort of with this channel? I'm trying to launch a few different properties. Some are related, some aren't, so I'm not going to necessarily try to make it cross-shop, but the idea is to create some content that's hopefully is interesting to some people. I'm going to kind of work on and refine it sort of as we go, so what you see today might not be what you see a month from now, but the idea is to be able to, at some point, generate enough revenue that I don't have to find a quote-unquote real job. I think you can learn a lot from the experiences that I have if you're interested. I've seen this industry change. I've seen this industry grow. I've seen this industry slow down. I think that we're in a very interesting time in this industry. I mean, you just take a look at like Tesla, who up until a year or so ago was, full gung-ho. Now their sales have started to slow. Their chief executive promotes the Republican candidate for president, which seems weird on one aspect, but then makes perfect sense on another. Kind of depends on your view of Elon, I suppose. I particularly find his politics I don't agree with them. Very kind of vehemently don't agree with them. But this isn't necessarily the place for that, because I'm not critiquing, especially right now, I'm not critiquing Elon. But, like, gas cars, are they going to still be a thing? Well, yeah, of course they are, but, like, is there going to be legislation? What's going to happen? I think a lot of it depends on who wins in 3 weeks. Who knows? So it's a very interesting time just from that aspect of covering the business. But also, like, hey, if you need a new car, or you need a car, like, what should you do? What should you buy? There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of good stuff out there. But, like, just look at this Mach-E, for example, right? Like, if you want a reasonably quick performance kind of EV, sure, this is a car you could definitely go with, but is it the best one for you? Maybe, maybe not. That's where the context of having a reviewer come into play. Now, you'll see a lot of content out on the internet, especially on YouTube, that call themselves reviews, and they just kind of point and talk about things. Oh, here's this infotainment screen. Here's this, here's that. Like, those are overviews, and those are fine. It's perfectly acceptable content. It's good content in a lot of cases. But it's also lacks a certain critique element to it. The stuff that I market to you as reviews, I intend on providing some editorial context based on other cars that I've driven and vehicles that I've driven and that sort of experience. So if I tell you I like something over something else, yes, it's my personal opinion, but I'm coming to it with over a decade of experience in a lot of different vehicles. So it's not just, ooh, I like horsepower, or ooh, I like sports cars, or ooh, I like whatever. Like, if I'm giving you an opinion, I'm giving you an opinion based on all of that context. Now, sometimes I'll just be like, oh, hey, I personally like this car, but you probably won't. There will be times that occurs, because I think that that's fine. But if I'm just saying, hey, for a young family, or for a growing family, or for, a single income, no kids, or like whatever, like if I'm putting myself within that context, that opinion isn't just off the cuff. Like, it is educated from experience, because like other people in this business, I'm not the only one, like other people in this business, I'm an expert in this field. And I want you to come to me for that expertise. Not because you need to, but because you value it. far too many times on the EV Pulse channel, me or Craig would list our opinions based on that expertise, and then people would come in and say, oh, well, you're just hating on this because you're a hater, or, oh, I own this car and it's perfectly fine. Couple things to keep in mind. Yes, occasionally we'll run into a vehicle that has an issue with it that is solely related to that particular car, that press demonstrator, and not the whole line. I'll try to be clear on that. Like, oh, if I think this problem is related directly to this car and not the lineup, I will make that clear. Whether you choose to believe it, that's up to you. But like, that's something that I plan on doing. But you may also like something that I don't like. That doesn't negate my opinion, nor does it negate yours. So before you come in with pitchforks and torches and tiki torches, like, understand that. I mean, that is definitely, like, on the previous channel, that is something that we'd run into constantly, and it doesn't make any sense. Because if we're providing our opinion, one, it is just our opinion, but it's coming from an area of expertise of thousands of cars driven over decades. Keep that in mind. I do love to hear from you, though. Leave comments. Talk about what you like. Talk about what you didn't like. You know, I don't plan on... I want the community, I want the comment section to be an engaging community, a positive community, but you can have criticism. What I won't allow is straight-up disinformation. I won't allow personal insults, whether they're lobbied at me or at another member of the community. I'll moderate that stuff. Oh, what about free speech? No, you don't. It's first off, I'm not a government-controlled entity, so you have no right to that free speech. YouTube specifically encourages comment moderation, and I want a particular environment where if somebody comes along and watches one of my videos for the first time, who maybe doesn't know a lot about EVs or doesn't know a lot about the industry, I don't want them to scroll down to the comments section and just see straight up virtual because of something or someone. So just keep in mind that comments, they don't all need to be positive, but they need to be made in good faith with fact-based information, and they need to be kind to not only the presenters, but to the other commenters. Don't like it, don't comment. Alright, now that that's said, let's talk about the pricing of this car and give some potential final-ish verdicts. We've got 36 miles of range and 28 miles to the charger, so looks like we're going to end up maybe around 8. This car has a starting MSRP of $53,995. That is the performance. That is the Mach-E GT. This glacier gray color, which I like, is $995. The 20-inch summer tires, $300. The Mustang Mach-E GT Performance Upgrade is $995. Because everything else is already on board, all of the hardware is there, so all it is it's $1,000 for a tune. Some people are like, well, you should have that power all at the beginning. Well, I mean, maybe, but if you bought like a Raptor EcoBoost or whatever, like, you can go to a tuner right away and get a tune. Ford will even sell you a hot tune. So some things there maybe you want to take into consideration. The wheels, $1,700. Those wheels that are probably not particularly efficient, but that are holding those 20-inch summer tires. $1,500 for the panoramic glass roof. It's nice. $1,500 nice? I don't know. I probably wouldn't spec it, though it is nice to be able to mount a camera on it. And $395 for an interior protection package, which there was a rubber mat in the back, which was nice. I have cloth mats up here, but I don't know if that's just because that's how this car was delivered to the press fleet. That gives you a grand total of $59,880, but there's a wonderful $1,895 destination and delivery charge, which makes this total $61,775. So $225 short of 62 grand. Should you buy it? Well, if you got 62 grand for a car, sure, go ahead. compared to something like an Ioniq 5N, I prefer the Hyundai. Though, the Hyundai is more expensive by more than just a couple of grand. So that puts the Mach-E GT in this interesting sort of thing. It's more equivalent to like an EV6 GT line, or the top spec Ioniq 5, but not the N. Like N-line sort of stuff, things like that. Yes, elephant in the room probably is, excuse me, the elephant in the room is probably the Model 3 Performance, which is recently updated, does have a supposedly hands-off driving assist system. I haven't tried the supervised full self-driving yet. I've used it back where you've had to have hands on the wheels. Wasn't super impressed, but it's been a while since I've driven it. So there is that. All that being said, it's not a particularly bad value, I think. You know, again, Model 3 Performance, Model Y Performance probably delivers more of that performance. You're definitely going to get more range out of both of those as well, I feel like. You're taking a pretty big range penalty, I think, with this car, especially with the conditions we're in, which aren't bad conditions, but 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour is pretty low. The car's well put together. I like the interior. These GT seats are comfortable. You get them on all the models now. It's not just a performance package kind of thing, because again, that's part of the new performance whatever. Decent amount of practicality. Charging speed's okay. Blue Cruise is excellent. I mean, it really is. I think Super Cruise is still probably ace. It'll do automatic lane changes. I'll have to maybe look at the settings here in a bit to see if there's a way to do that automatically. But I have to tell the car I want a lane change, which is, if I'm putting my hands all the way up here, why don't I just go ahead and just lane change? But, you know, I guess that's neither here nor there. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Driving range, low, okay. Thanks, car. What else? Acceleration is brisk. I mean, we're talking 4 seconds-ish, high 3s, lows 4s to 60. 460 horsepower really is more than enough for anyone. Just when you drive something with more power, you're like, oh, where's the power at? In theory, there should be, at some point, a high-performance variant of this car. Think like a Shelby badged or something. That should be the equivalent of you know, a true Model 3 Performance or a Model Y Performance or a true Ioniq 5N. When will that come? I don't know. Soon, hopefully, but we're not there yet. Model Y is probably the biggest competitor. I tend to prefer this over the Y, though. I do think you'll get more range there, a little bit better charging performance too. I tend to prefer Ford's build quality. I've been using phone as a key the whole time. I set it up and I've been using it. Doesn't work quite as well as Tesla's, but works reasonably well. Yeah, drive them both, I guess. I do like how this car looks. I mean, I'm not a huge crossover fan, but I feel like the Mustang-y elements really do add, I think, to the appeal of this car, even though you do lose some practicality for the design. I'd like to see a little bit better charging performance. I'd like to see better range, better efficiency. Yeah. Probably wouldn't spec the glass roof personally. It's just whatever. I would check other paint options too if I want to pay for paint. I'd like something that's not gray. Wheels are nice. Maybe I'd spec them. Maybe I wouldn't. I'd have to look. But $995 to go to the performance upgrade. The performance upgrade unlock. Yeah, for sure would do that. Just because, why not? I do like you can use Tesla's charging network. That's great. Yeah, and I would definitely make sure it's snatch and adapter to be able to do that. About to drive into what looks like a real proper rainstorm slash snowstorm. It's not cold enough to snow. Kind of got that vibe though. 27 miles of range left. 20 miles to the charger. There's a charger right here, but we aren't doing that. Negative, Ghost Rider. We're going to go back to the map. Watch the road. I am watching the road. Thank you. I mean, I will be below 10% state of charge, which is sort of my goal on one of these things for a charge test. I'd really like to be below 5% state of charge. We'll have to see if we actually get that low. We're at 13 now. Pack should be warm though. It should be up to a reasonably good temperature. It should precondition, but with the state of charge as low as it is, it may not actually do that. But just the extent of highway driving I've been doing, it should be warm enough to get a halfway decent charge performance. And it's a good thing that I opted to go the route that I'm doing, because if this rain continues to rain, I'll get wet. And I don't want to get wet. So, canopy charging station for the win. I think the infotainment could be quicker. I like the system itself. I think there's some things about it that could be quicker. Especially like if you turn and stop the car, you hit that, it takes a second for it to pop up. And that is where the rear hatch open is, if you don't use the key fob. So it's not a button. There's not a physical button somewhere. So you got to wait for that to drop down and this to load and then to be able to hit it. If you're trying to get into the back quickly, that's kind of annoying. But deal breaker, no. Nothing on here is a deal breaker, I don't think. And I do like Blue Cruise. So if the pricing sort of fits, maybe this is a good car for you. I'd like to see some updates though to make it a little bit more competitive, especially with what the Koreans are doing. Should you go out and buy one of these if you have a 23 GT? No, probably not. I don't think there's a big enough reason to upgrade if you currently own a Mach-E. But if you're thinking about one, if you really like it, probably worth doing. But since we're in the GT model, the competitive set's pretty competitive. If you don't need the GT model, then that opens up some other interesting choices. So now it's telling me to keep the hands on the steering wheel. Blue Cruise is like, this rain, maybe I'm not super comfortable with it. Lane centering's still working. So it's still there. The little blue shield is still up. But temperature is now back down to 46. So we're going to call it 46 degrees for the whole purpose of this test. Going to disable all the systems since it's now really raining. %, state of charge for the loop back around. So far, no rain on the rear wiper. Or on the rear windscreen. That's kind of nice. There's a rear wiper back there, but with as hard as it was raining right there, I'm a little surprised it didn't get wet. Ugh, 43 degrees. Surprised it's not spitting snow. Maybe it is. No, it's mostly rain. This time it wants me to take it. For some reason, yet again, it wants me to take a ticket. Didn't need a ticket to get off the highway. Probably because I immediately got back on. Within a certain amount of time, I think it freaks out. But I'll bet you money when I get up to this next toll plaza, it'll just boop. It really doesn't think that I watched the road. I mean, I do. I watched the road pretty well, I feel like. Yay, Blue Cruise is back. Now that I can see the lines and that rainstorm is over. A rainstorm that definitely didn't come this far this way. Driving range low. Doo-doo-doo. Now, 7%, 9 miles, 15 miles of range. Plenty. Still, 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour, not as good as I feel like this car should be, even in the conditions. I feel like we should be at 2.5, 2.7. I don't feel like that's unreasonable to ask. A lot of that has to be both weather and wheels. Charger distance critical. No, it's not. Almost 3 hours of driving, have only gone 190 miles. And I've used 95%, 94% of the battery pack. Yeah. A lot of that has to be wheels and weather. Now it says the chargers are unreachable. Nearest charger is outside my range. Well, no, it's not. Because our destination is in 5 miles. It says I have 11 miles of range. It's getting very mad at me. But there's going to be a good 6 miles left in this thing. Unreachable. It's right there. Unless it just dies now. Well, I should probably not say that, but... Besides, sun's out, guns out. No. But... So, I will do some calculations. You'll stick with me all the way to the stop, but I'll do some calculations after we stop, give you a total, and while we are doing the charge curve video, I will check in and let you know how it all worked out. be prepared to find a plug. Yeah. Is it even turtling my output? Actually, yes. It looks like it is. By at least 50%, it looks like I'm looking at this little graphy thingy. Yeah, it's turtling a little bit. Based on this little chart, but on the instrument cluster, but it's really kind of hard to tell. Like, it's just a couple of dotted lines, but because it's enough that you can see. Turtle, turtle, turtle. Well, turtle icon, though. No Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I'm going to opt for a self-pay line, not a ticket line, because I think that it's just going to accept my see that I just took it. I don't understand. So, didn't need the ticket to get off the highway. Good old Bonson Road. So I signed up for a EVgo plan because I'm tired of paying, 64 cents a kilowatt, 65 cents a kilowatt. I mean, even if I only use it once a month, it'll pay, the money savings will pay for the charging difference. So basically, I come out ahead if I even use it just twice. Made it with 8 miles of range left. Woohoo! All right, thanks for coming along, guys. Now that we've completed the drive, let's go over some facts and figures. We have 8 miles of indicated range left and a 3% state of charge when we pulled into this EV Go station. The weather outside today is roughly 46 degrees, mix of sun, mix of rain, and we drove for a total of 3 hours, 3 minutes, and 52 seconds. That was 196.8 miles with an average speed of 64 miles per hour. We got 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour per the onboard computer. So if you factor that out over a 91 kilowatt hour usable battery pack, that sets our maximum range at 209.3 miles. That's significantly less than the 280 miles of EPA estimated range in mixed driving, and one of the poorer performing vehicles that we've tested, though so far in the 70 miles an hour range test that I've done at EV Pulse and then now here at Destination Charged, this was the coolest one as in temperature and weather. As we're heading towards the fall, performance will definitely decrease. If I do some rough math based on the onboard computer, once the range hits 0 miles, we should have roughly 4 to 5 miles of reserve electricity. It was limiting their limiting their output to around 50%, so it was already starting to turtle, but there was definitely some more range left in the car. When you factor in the larger wheels, the summer tires, the more performance-y bits aero, I'm not surprised the range was a bit lower, but again, the window sticker says 280, so I was hoping for 240, 250, especially as we started the day. That's the number that it started with on the Guesstimeter. So a little bit poorer performer, though I expect cars that we test over the winter to not do quite as well. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and please like and subscribe, and stick around for the next one. Hopefully you found this useful. Thanks for watching.